Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking we're making churros. So a churro walks into a bar and the bartender is like, hey, we don't serve donuts here, man. And the churro is like, what? What are you talking about? I'm not a donut. And the bartender's like, are you sure? And the churro's like, yeah, I'm churro! Make the dough for the churros. We've got some water in a pot. What I'm about to show you is a Mexican version of churros. So churros are a fritter originated in Spain. The original dough only had flour and water mixed up together and then fried. I think, talking to my friend about this, I think that when the French occupied Mexico, they kind of changed the recipe a little bit and they made it more like a French pastry. So that's what I'm going to show you because I think it's a little bit nicer and richer. So this is just water, butter, sugar, and salt. I'm going to mix this up together until the butter melts and the water boils. And we're making what's called a choux pastry, C-H-O-U-X. And I made these before when we did the gougères, which is like a savory type thing that's baked. So it's the same basic dough that we're starting with, but then we're gonna cook it differently from that by deep frying it. Okay, so once your liquid reaches a good roll and boil, we can turn the heat off. And I've got flour here, just regular all-purpose flour. Just dump it in all at once. And then start mixing it up. And it's gonna look lumpy and shitty at first, but it will all come together in a few seconds. Okay, so there we go. Once it's kind of sort of a Play-Doh looking ball, I'm gonna transfer it into a separate bowl because this pot is still really hot and we want it to cool off a little bit. Woo! If you wanted to do this with a mixing bowl, that's totally fine. I'm gonna show you how to do it by hand just to show you that it can be done, since I know a lot of people don't have an electric mixer. So I just want to let this cool for about 5 minutes. You can spread it out a little bit. Cool off. So we'll see you back in about 5. All right, once it's stopped steaming, we can add the egg. So this is 2 eggs that I've beaten up with some vanilla extract. I'm just gonna add about half of this. Oops, or a little more. Start mixing it vigorously. And that's why we let it cool, so that the egg wouldn't just immediately cook when it hit the hot flour. And again, it's gonna look like a total disaster, but eventually it will all come together, and it'll come together really fast if you use an electric mixer. You can just do it on medium speed. Yeah, so when it starts sounding a little sloppy sexy like that, it will also start coming together into a ball. Sometimes it's easier to kind of hold it like this. Okay, good. The rest of our egg. Once it's nice and smooth, we're ready to go. I'm gonna fit it into a pastry bag. I'm gonna show you how I put mine together because I've had this for like over a decade and I just recently figured out the right way to assemble it. I don't even know if they make this kind anymore, but anyway, so I recommend using like a pretty heavy duty bag because this is such a thick dough. And then you're gonna drop your little tip in. I'm gonna use this pretty wide star piping tip. You can also buy a little press called a churrera that is especially made for piping churros, but anyway, I'll use this. Put that in first. Wait, yeah, this is right. Then this part goes in. I always have to think about it. Yeah, that's right. And then screw this on the outside. Okay, so that's assembled. And then we can fill it with our dough. Pack it in there, twist off the top. We'll get it started. Okay, good. So now over here, I've got my oil heating. It's about 3 inches of corn oil. I'm using corn oil. You could use peanut oil or canola oil or whatever you like to fry in, but those are all good choices. I'm letting it heat up till it's 350 and then we'll start frying. So just a couple more minutes. Okay, once your oil's hot, now hold the bag in your non-dominant hand and squeeze off lengths right into the oil, and then cut them off about 3 to 4 inches. You can use a knife, but scissors work pretty well if you have some kitchen shears. And just fry like maybe 3 or 4 at a time so you don't overcrowd the pot and cool the oil off too much. And they don't take very long. You'll see they kind of fizz around a lot and then they'll begin to float. And you can kind of turn them if you need to. Should just take 3 to 4 minutes total. Okay, and when they're nice and brown and most of the bubbles have subsided, we can scoop them out and drain them on a little paper towel or paper bag or something. And don't be too upset if some of them kind of burst open a little bit. That happens usually if your oil's a little bit too hot. Mine was a little bit hotter than 350 when I put these in. So I'm gonna let those cool just a couple of minutes. Fry a few more. So you want to just let them drain for a moment, but then while they're still kind of warm, I've got some cinnamon sugar mix here that I'm just going to roll them around in that. And that's why the batter itself is not terribly sweet, because you roll them in this sugar mixture. In Mexico, these are often served with a hot chocolate type of dipping chocolate. And then a lot of places in South America, they actually fill them with caramel or chocolate or vanilla or even like fruit pastes. So they become kind of like a jelly donut that way. But this is more like what you get at fairs and stuff here, although those are usually like, you know, a foot long. This is a little bit more reasonable size. These are best served pretty quickly, but if you need to hold them, you can do the sugar and then put them on a rack in the oven at like 200 or 200 degrees, and they'll keep nice and warm and crispy there for about an hour. Awesome. Yay, these are so fun, and this batch makes a whole lot, so you have all the fried delicious snacks that you can eat. So for more fun stuff that you can make in a Fry Daddy, check out my corn dogs video from a long time ago. And then also I did a cake donut for Halloween a few years ago. That's pumpkin spice cake donut holes. They're so good. And I'm gonna try one of these. I'll eat the ugly one. Oh wait, it's like a smiley face or a frowny face. Hear that crunch? And the inside's nice and tender. Oh man, these are so good. I could eat so many of them and I would feel bad afterwards, but not so bad that I wouldn't do it again. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out HilahCooking.com for this printable recipe and all printable recipes. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment or a question, and see you later. All right.